Alright, so since Zenless Zone Zero 2.1 is coming out very soon, that also means we are very close to getting Yuzuha in the game. And she's looking to be a very strong and interesting character here. So today I want to go over her kit, talk about her signature W engine as well, to see whether or not she's going to be a good fit for you to pull on your account here. So starting out with her kit, Yuzuha is a physical support agent, and I'm sure we all know support agents end up being very strong a lot of the time, so that already is a good sign for her. So when going over her kit here, I do want to start firstly with the two biggest parts of her kit. The first one is going to be her unique sugar points resource. So Yuzuha can hold up to 6 sugar points at a time, and these can be consumed to activate an aftershock attack, which is going to help her put on some extra damage as well. So this aftershock attack can activate anytime allies hit enemies while Yuzuha has any amount of sugar points. Each activation of this attack will consume 1 sugar point, and you can trigger this aftershock hit once every 8 seconds. So this will be a nice way to just get some extra damage as well with Yuzuha, although since she is a support, you're not really looking for damage, you're more so going to be looking for utility and buffs with her. Then the other really important part of Yuzuha's kit here is going to be the Sweet Scare state. So this state is mainly going to be applied by using Yuzuha's EX Special and Ultimate on enemies. The state is going to last for 40 seconds, and the main function of this state is to trigger the Sugar Burst Sparkles damage on the enemy, which there are 2 versions of this, a regular Sugar Burst Sparkles and then also a Sugar Burst Sparkles Max, which is just an enhanced version honestly in terms of the amount of damage it does. So Sugar Burst Sparkles will deal damage once per second to enemies that have Sweet Scare, and this damage will initially be physical. It also does help with anomaly buildup as well, and the damage from Sugar Burst Sparkles will have an extra 25% anomaly buildup rate, which is going to be really nice when pairing with any kind of anomaly setup. But it is important to note that when it comes to the actual damage calculation of the anomaly, this Sugar Burst Sparkle damage does not actually apply to it at all, so your anomaly damage is still going to mainly be based on your anomaly DPSs. Now, the difference between Sugar Burst Sparkles and the Sugar Burst Sparkles Max is really just the activation of it, as well as just dealing extra damage with the Max version. So to activate Sugar Burst Sparkles Max, you need to hit that enemy with Sweet Scare with either that aftershock attack we talked about with the sugar points, or her enhanced assist follow-up, which we'll talk about in a moment here. And other than that, these 2 effects are going to be pretty much the same, but the other important thing when it comes to Sweet Scare is that whenever an ally attacks the enemy for the first time after they've been inflicted with Sweet Scare, the attribute of the Sugar Burst Sparkles damage is going to change to that ally's attribute, meaning that you can really heavily accelerate the buildup of whatever anomaly type you are focusing on with your comp. So for example, if you activate this state on an enemy, then you swap into Miyabi for example, you'll be able to start building up Frost Anomaly, which is super nice to be able to increase the speed of anomaly buildup for your main anomaly damage dealer. And this attribute will stay on them until the current Sweet Scare state ends. So if you end up reapplying it while the state hasn't ended yet, it is going to reset the attribute as well. So that is important to keep in mind if either you are switching between attributes or you want to make sure that you have as much uptime as possible on the one attribute you chose. Then to move on to other parts of her kit here, Yuzuha does have a heavy basic attack, which is basically just a parry attack. You hold down the attack button for 1.5 seconds, and if an enemy hits you during this, you're going to not only parry it, which has the same parry efficiency as a defensive assist, and you'll also recover 1 sugar point as well. And Yuzuha also does have like a Tanuki pet who will consistently deal damage while Yuzuha is off field, kind of similar to Lucy's Boars or Jufufu's companion as well. And this Tanuki helper will also inherit Yuzuha's attack, so just a nice little bit of extra damage here and there, but nothing super crazy. Next up, there are a couple things I do want to highlight when it comes to Yuzuha's assists. Starting out with her regular parry, anytime she parries, she's going to recover 1 sugar point, which is going to be great for getting that aftershock attack. And the other thing is the enhanced assist follow-up that I mentioned, where this one you really just activate it with a specific timing when you do the assist follow-up. I'm not in the creator server or anything like that, so I can't really comment on that timing specifically from using her. But if you're able to get this assist follow-up off, it's going to deal more damage and daze to the enemy than the normal assist follow-up, so it is a good thing to go for. Next up, Yuzuha does have 2 EX specials, but they do pretty much act the same here. The only difference between the 2 of them is that the second one is going to be able to serve as a follow-up directly after either a dodge counter, a quick assist, an assist follow-up, or a perfect dodge. But besides that, both of these are going to deal physical damage to the enemy and apply the sweet scare state to them. You're also going to recover 2 sugar points, and this is going to trigger a quick assist as well, which is super nice to automatically swap into another ally after inflicting sweet scare, so that you can change the attribute that they're getting extra anomaly from to the one of your main anomaly DPS. So that is going to be very good there as well. Next up for Yuzuha's chain attack, you're going to recover 1 sugar point from this, and it also is going to trigger a quick assist as well, which it's going to be really good to be able to swap out very easily from Yuzuha, because you pretty much just want to get the sweet scare state on enemies and then swap into your other characters to deal as much damage as possible. Next up for Yuzuha's ultimate, whenever enemies are hit with a heavy attack through this ultimate, they're going to be also inflicted with the sweet scare state. And all allies besides Yuzuha are going to recover 25 energy when she uses her ultimate, but Yuzuha herself will recover 2 sugar points. So she does have a lot of good ways to get these extra sugar points, so you should be able to see that aftershock attack from her pretty often. Next up, we have her core passive, where Yuzuha is going to be able to gain 3 sugar points at the start of battle, and whenever she hits an enemy with her EX special or her ultimate, all allies are going to gain the Tanuki Wish effect for 40 seconds. This effect is gonna increase all allies' attack by 40% of Yuzuha's initial attack, meaning not affected by any other attack buffs from your team. This buff can cap at 1200 attack, but if Yuzuha has at least 3000 attack, it's automatically gonna give the maximum 1200 attack buff. So that is very good as well, so you do want to aim for 3000 attack to make sure you have that maximum attack buff there. Additionally, the Tanuki Wish state is also going to increase the damage dealt by all allies by 15%, so you do have some very good offensive buffs there for the team. And then the last part of her core kit here is her additional ability, and the condition to activate it is to either have an anomaly ally or an ally from the same faction, and given how she already gives a lot of attack buffs, you are probably going to run her on some anomaly comps, but this additional ability makes her even more powerful when it comes to those anomaly comps. So if Yuzuha has at least 100 anomaly mastery, she's going to increase the anomaly buildup rate, anomaly damage, and disorder damage of all allies with the Tanuki Wish effect by 0.2% per additional anomaly mastery above 100. And if you're able to get her up to 200 anomaly mastery, it's going to give the maximum buff from this, which is a 20% boost to those stats. So anomaly characters are going to perform really well as long as you have the additional ability up for Yuzuha here. So that's everything for her core kit there. So now let's talk about her Mindscapes. So starting out with her M1, Yuzuha is going to gain 30 energy when she enters combat. And if you're in like the story like investigation mode, this can activate once every 180 seconds. All enemies with the Sweet Scare state are also going to have a 10% all attribute res debuff, which just means you're going to be able to deal more damage to them. And the anomaly damage and disorder damage buff from the additional ability is going to increase to 130% of the original amount, giving your anomaly characters even more damage opportunities there, which is super nice. Then for her M2, whenever Yuzuha hits an enemy with her EX special or ultimate, all allies are going to deal 15% more damage and have 15% more anomaly buildup for 40 seconds, which is really good because it seems like all these extra buffs she gets are going to activate during that Tanuki Wish state, so you are going to get a ton of extra damage as long as you keep that state up. Also with the M2, anytime Yuzuha hits an enemy that is not stunned with a heavy attack, you're going to activate her chain attack as well. It is a bit of a weaker version that has a reduced interrupt level, and you can do this once every 20 seconds, but it will be nice to get the extra sugar point from the chain attack as well. Also, Yuzuha is able to gain 1 sugar point as well whenever another character swaps onto the field using a chain attack. So that could also be very good for when you get some stuns off on enemies, because you will be using your chain attacks to just get a few extra sugar points there as well. And lastly for the M2, because this is a pretty bloated Mindscape honestly, the Aftershock attack's cooldown is reduced by 2 seconds. So now you can activate her Aftershock hit every 6 seconds, which is very nice, which does help with the increased sugar point gains that you get from the M2 here. Next up, for her M4, this gives some buffs for the assist follow-up. So now with her assist follow-up, she's going to get a 30% damage increase, a 20% anomaly buildup rate increase, and any of her assist follow-ups are going to trigger quick assists now, which is really good to just swap into another character as long as the enemy still has their sweet scare state up, which can be really nice to just improve your overall efficiency in dealing damage. Then finally, for her M6, Yuzuha is going to gain 1 sugar point anytime she parries, which is really good for her considering she has a parry attack. And she can actually now hold down the attack button during the enhanced assist follow-up to deal some extra damage. She'll charge up a bit and deal some extra shots. So if these extra shots hit an enemy that's under the sweet scare state, she's going to trigger the max version of the Sugar Burst Sparkle damage, and all allies will have an additional 105% added to their disorder damage multiplier for 40 seconds. And this can stack up to 3 times as well, which it's M6, so you got to have some crazy stuff in there somewhere. And if Yuzuha is attacked while she's charging up the enhanced version of this assist follow-up, she's automatically going to launch the attack with the maximum amount of charge. So this is really just going to give some extra damage to the team, and especially a lot of extra damage if you are running a disorder comp. So that is everything there for her Mindscapes. So now let's move into Yuzuha's W engine here. So with her signature W engine, whenever the user of the engine deals physical damage with their EX special or ultimate, they're going to gain 30 anomaly mastery for 40 seconds. And anytime the user hits an enemy with an aftershock attack, all allies are going to gain 60 anomaly proficiency for 40 seconds as well, making this really good for Yuzuha because all of the buffs from this as well are also going to fall in line with the Sweet Scare state's duration. So that's everything for her W engine there, and also just her kit. So now let's finally talk about my overall thoughts on her. I think she's going to be an amazing support character, probably the closest we've had to having a second Astra Yao, because Astra Yao is just kind of ridiculous. But Yuzuha, I think, is going to be very much more centered to anomaly teams. And I do think that with the attack and damage buff she has, she could be good on other teams as well. But I think without a doubt, she's going to be the best in slot support for any anomaly comps. So if you're someone who's running a lot of anomaly characters, or also if you're looking for Miyabi's rerun that's going to be coming out with Yuzuha as well, Yuzuha is going to be a very strong character to pull for, and is going to make a lot of anomaly characters perform a lot better. I do think outside of anomaly teams, there may be other characters that are going to be better as supports depending on the specific situation, but I do think that Yuzuha will kind of be like Astra Yao, where she can work as a more generalist kind of support as well, fitting into a lot of different team comps as long as you're able to trigger her support effects as well. Since if you're running her outside of Anomaly, her additional ability is not as important to get, so I think she could have some level of flexibility when it comes to team building. But we'll have to see when she's actually in game, because again, I'm not in any kind of creator experience server. This is all just based on my interpretation of the kit here. But I do think that all in all, she does continue the trend of supports in not just Zenless, but really just Hoyo games in general, having really good kits and having a very strong likelihood of being relevant for a long time. So that's all I have for Yuzuha here. I'd love to hear what you all think about her in the comments down below. But I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed and want to see more content from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But with that, everyone, I will see you all next time.